Hello and welcome back to Letting Them Lead. This episode is one where we're going to talk about giving things a try, saying yes, and we'll probably talk about our improv roots. I am Marie Murataya. I am a preschool speech language pathologist, and I co-host this podcast along with my mom, Laurie Cook, a transitional kindergarten teacher, because we are bringing you into the world of early childhood education. How was my intro?
That was beautiful.
Quick summary.
How was my staying quiet for a change?
It was a change. So giving things a try. What have you tried that was new this week with your students?
Gosh, I kind of like to try things that they bring up. Mm-hmm. You know, oh, that's a good idea. How could we do that? Let's put it this way. We were supposed to construct vehicles. This was the STEAM activity with different paper. I don't know if I talked about this. I was really excited.
Yeah. I can't remember.
I was just really excited. I think I might have, but that was trying something different. There was not pre-cut, and if you're going to make a train, then here's the pieces for the train. And if you're going to make a boat, then here's what we use for that.
Okay.
Instead, I had pictures of we've been using these pictures all week, and I had these pictures of the different transportation vehicles. We've been talking about where we could go in these types of vehicles and whatever. But so we had those same pictures, and then there were other variety of pictures. But what does that look like? Sometimes I think maybe there's a shape inside. How could you think about it? And they put up all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. It was so cool. The only thing is when you put these things on the wall, I wonder what people think when they walk in, because it is just not all the same. And some have these pieces that go out here, and it's beautiful to them.
But that's and that's their classroom, it's their vision.
Yep.
It's where they're at. Didn't we talk about this in the last one? Like the whole concept of when you have an art project or some sort of craft that you're either putting on your classroom wall or sending home, like letting them do it as they do it. If the bunny ear on the letter B is way down at the bottom or snipped,
completely off.
That's where they're at, and that's a beautiful thing. And then you get to see the progress as they do other projects and things. But it's so cool to see what it looks like in their eyes. Mm-hmm. People walk through and who cares what they think.
Then there's also the things with textures. Some kids don't enjoy different textures, but they see that other kids are enjoying it.
Yeah.
So there's the language of, it's really okay to give that a try. It has a smooth feeling.
Yeah.
I try it first, and that kind of motivates them. And then all my sensory tables are always used now.
Yeah, and something I've seen in different areas throughout my career sometimes is when we have kids, especially because I'm in the inclusion preschool program, so we have kids with a variety of abilities. And something that I learned recently, so there's a big wave which I love, that has kind of been in and out of my ears in terms of being in the speech pathology world and, things I see on social media, not in and out of my ears, but more so like, I feel like a lot of the content I consume and stuff within speech pathology is very much neurodiversity affirming, and something that we always say is presume competence with our students. Again, varying ability levels, students that are maybe in general ed or maybe they're on an IEP. Sorry, we're being very much distracted by...
She likes this topic.
By the cat. She does like this cat. She likes us to give things a try in this house. But no, so the whole idea of presuming competence, in terms of every kid deserves the chance to try something, whatever that something may be, and I want to kind of give an example in a minute. And I was at a training recently with my very own AAC mentor for the one of the courses I'm in, and she said, presume potential, and I just liked that phrasing a little bit better. I think presuming competence it's kind of the same thing, but potential, because we all have potential, like for a variety of things. And I guess presuming potential just, I feel like, takes it a little further than just the skill you might be working on.
Exactly, which my activity was perfect for that.
Exactly. And so I just think that when we go in with this mindset of giving things a try, for all students, we are going to be presuming that potential. And something I've seen, an example of this is like at center time, taking away if a student doesn't yet know how to use a paintbrush, but there's a paint center. And so then you take away the paint when that student comes to the center. I know it's cringy, but I have to say it because I think sometimes we think as the educator, as the adult, that is actually helping. But it's definitely more harmful, and you already know this, so we can like round table what we've seen and how we can better problem solve to be able to still provide that opportunity. Thank you, for our students, because we want to not only give, like, we not only want to be willing to try things out with them because we're presuming that potential, but we also want to model that it's okay to try something new. But yeah, I can see why we would want to maybe pull the paint, right? It's messy. That student's now going to go home with orange hair and orange shirt.
Teacher's going to go home with all colors all over her hand.
Yeah, and that
all day long.
That's what we signed up for.
That's right.
You signed up for the mess. Sorry.
I had a friend go home with slime in their hair, and I was teaching them, but some got on the floor. It's still doesn't come out easily, and it was in their hair pretty time. I'm thinking, please, Mom, understand.
I sent someone home with oh gosh, what were we playing with? I think it was slime. Like when they have those little like Dollar Tree like toys, like the eggs with the slime in it, and it has glitter in it and stuff. Well, one of those had gotten all over my students' clothing. I'm sure that shirt was
ruined because it's
done.
Glue.
But this is the age level. These are where the messes happen.
Yeah.
These are where the sensory experiences happen. And so back to kind of that idea with the paint, even if that student in the past has gone home with orange hair because they took the paintbrush and painted on themselves, every time we put out that paint and we model how we're using the paintbrush and what we use it on, it's just more input that student's getting. That's right. And who's to say, like, maybe they liked the way that felt, and like that's a learning. Oh, you wanted orange hair today. Okay, like,
what I might say that was that an interesting feeling, if that's what I was perceiving, and then say, if you ask your mom to have a paintbrush in the bathtub,
yes,
you could maybe try it with just water.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say something about no. I shouldn't cut in. But one of the things I do with the paint, because you said paint and talk about presuming potential. I'm not doing that. I'm like negative space. You cut out different shapes. I didn't say a thing. I just put these papers up, and I also give different size paintbrushes. Because they get to choose what they're thinking about, and I've watched. It's so fascinating because I haven't taught it directly. This will make thin lines. I will go to their paper and I will say, I see that you're using this skinnier brush, and which lines are from this brush, or whatever. And we talk about and that's all that language too, but they're seeing how things work, and then they can make their choices.
Exactly. So yeah, maybe the students go a little crazy in the sandbox. Yeah, throwing sand isn't
that's not safe. Not safe.
But we need the opportunity to teach it rather than keep the sandbox closed, right?
Oh, yes.
It's going to be way more helpful to continuously too, not just the one time. You can't expect, especially in early education, that the whole point is consistency. And so we are teaching these lessons maybe in different ways over and over and over again. Throwing any toy or anything is not going to be safe because it could hit a friend in the head or whatever. Throwing sand, little things could get in our eyes. Like, we know it's not safe, but we have students that maybe are seeking some sort of sensory input, so they want to see the sand go down. So we have the opportunities to teach them how to access that input in a safe way. Turn your body. You can do it if you get down at this level or whatever. But I really admire the yes and mentality in teachers. You know, we have a student, and the reason I bring up paint is because I have a little guy that he's mostly like non-speaking. He uses a lot of visuals to communicate, or he will use certain vocalizations, and we kind of know what he wants. And he loves paint. He loves it. And the other day he came to I was doing a dramatic play center, and he wanders in, and I'm like, was he just in the paint center? He had orange in his hair. It was all over his clothes, and he came right up to me and hugged me.
Oh,
so it
was all over your clothes too.
I had paint on me, you know, and it's one of those things where it's like, okay, like he's learning, but I love seeing that he's always getting the opportunity to have access to it, to learn how to do it, because every time, again, it's just more input. It's more opportunities for us to model, and it's something he loves too, so that's another thing. And I like, though, that you brought up the concept of, like, sometimes you know, we have those students that are a little bit unsure because of the texture of something or the way it sounds or looks or whatever, and so kind of modeling that it's okay to try to do something and then decide maybe we don't like it. Okay, so we won't do it again. Or you can always say, Mrs. Cook, I don't like this. And just have more an ability to show your preference for things.
Yeah.
But
and another way to model is through the other children, by making comments about what's happening in their space. And wow, you're dripping that, and I see that you're making sure it's over the tray since we're inside and we don't want it to go on the floor. Look at you landing it perfectly, or
right.
You know,
exactly. No, 100%.
Yeah.
When we are, especially, and that's why I I have so many good examples of that, because I do have the perspective of being in this inclusion program every day. But if we don't give access to things because one child maybe isn't quite, again, showing that they're at the same level as another child to be able to put the paintbrush on the paper, then one, we're limiting that child's ability to learn from their peers and learn from us. But then we're also going to limit other kids' opportunities to have access and to be those peer models. Like, there's so much that comes with that.
And we could take the peer modeling a step further and create a situation where that peer modeling can happen on purpose. Like, you know, ask this friend, can you show this friend what you're doing to make that happen?
Right.
Or whatever, and see where that goes.
Well, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
It'd be interesting to see where that goes.
No, and it's like when I was telling you before we started this, but yesterday, my big yes and moment happened in my first circle time when I was teaching the kids their new word of the week on their giant core board in their class, and they have enough words now to where they can put 3 or 4 words together, you know, like I want to eat or I want more. And one of the students on his own started like putting them together, like, look, I can do this. And of course, you know, we want them to learn how to sit on the carpet, raise their hand before they share a thought and all of that, right?
I know.
Well, I just say it because it is something that I hear.
It has to happen eventually.
But it was a moment where I needed to be willing to say yes and, like, come, just get up, come show me what you know, because in that moment, I have other kids that are just watching. And while they may not seem like they're as interested in participating, you know, my limited verbal student who really loves visuals and words and books was just so zoned in because he loves the way the visual, like, I mean, he loves how they look, but he understands what the concept is too. And so when the peer model's up there, because I said, yeah, let's try this, come show me what you know, he got up, then another student wanted to show me, then another student, and the whole time my other kids that maybe don't initiate wanting to come up and show me or don't have the desire right now to come up and show me, they're paying attention. And when we went into our small group centers later, I was able to, you know, kind of model that again for them and have them try it and everything like that. It was really cool. And so I was just very excited that I in that sense, I definitely did follow their lead, but I also allowed myself as the adult and kind of directing that circle time lesson to just go do away with my plan and give whatever else came a try. And that worked out so well.
It's a beautiful thing for them because you're truly taking their cues if you're going to give something a try.
I think it's just important to encourage all educators, not even early childhood educators, but everybody to take those opportunities and to keep trying them. If it doesn't work one day, it doesn't mean it won't work the next.
That's true.
Or within the next couple weeks. Like, you have to build in those opportunities on a consistent basis.
Yes. Think outside the box. I wonder if sometimes people might watch and think, well, that they're just working too hard. And we do have to remember our own ability and our, I'm on the floor every day, but I can be. I know some teachers can't be on the floor. It's not an easy place to get back up from sometimes. But I'm still luckily able to do it. And I love being down at their level. And I also sit in chairs. And usually when I read a story, I want to be a little higher because I want them all to be able to see because they're, in different places in that area. And, but there is a way, it does get easier if there's a general flow, like having paint out every day. Like I noticed this week, nobody chose to paint. And then I think last week, just one friend had done something on the easel, because I always keep paper and paint, and they know to open the lid now. And I'm so excited for the next day we go back to school, because I'm going to put those vehicle making scraps of paper and shapes of paper on a self-directed choice table and see what happens. I've made a big deal about all the ones we put on the wall. And it's funny, sometimes one friend will choose, they all chose purple because one friend started with a purple, most, not all, but most of, so they were building things on purple background. So it's funny. It's like I did it on purpose.
I think it's good. I feel like this, it doesn't have to be a long episode.
No.
I feel like this was very concise, but it just, again, presuming that competence or presuming that potential is
not fair.
It is fair. Wait, what?
No, when you presume. So here's how I took it. Presuming a limited potential.
No.
So I took it the opposite.
The whole point is
that was good.
Point is presuming potential for
presuming
for all skills.
Unlimited potential.
Yes.
Okay.
No limit.
Okay, because I guess I assumed you meant people might presume they're not ready for that. They're not ready for that.
So that's like presuming. That's the opposite. You always want to presume potential. You don't want you don't want to confine based on current skill level. You don't want to confine a student. Because you wouldn't want to be confined.
No.
Right?
No.
And I think about, myself as a speech pathologist, I don't want to be limited to just being where I'm at now with being a preschool SLP, because I'm constantly growing and evolving and learning new things, and people are modeling things for me that I then take, and same thing for all of my students. And we don't know what their future looks like. We can only give them the foundation of skills, and especially in early education and early intervention, we have to give them all opportunities,
foundational opportunities.
Exactly. And the place that I'm learning this, it's through the Open Access AAC, which is like a whole AAC training project, and I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of this training, because we're basically kind of taking away the idea that there need to be prerequisites to having access to communication. It's really, if I think about it, because we used to say when we wanted to, provide devices for students, and when we look at how to evaluate students, well, they have to be first making choices. They first have to be able to do this. And it's like, but wait a minute, if this tool is supposed to give them the ability to express themselves, why is it limited to only when they're able to do a certain thing?
Yeah, because maybe they need that tool before that certain thing
exactly.
happens.
So we have to presume the potential to be able to use the tool before we can say yes or no.
Okay.
So yeah. So
Yeah.
I think you understood it when I first said
did.
it, and then you overthought it.
Well,
when
I guess
said it
then I
again.
started using it backwards. That's probably another big word you have for me.
Backwards.
But when you think about it, a person could take it that way, like presuming a potential is set, a set potential, because you're 5, you're
No.
4, you're 3, so you can only do this.
It's the opposite.
It's the opposite. Now
Take out
I
the
know,
word
but maybe
set.
it was good that we clarified
Yeah,
it.
no, I think it's really good that we clarified it, because all you're doing is you're saying, I am going to give you all opportunities, all tools, everything. You are the child, with my modeling and my support, my scaffolding with your peer models. You get to take it and run with it, and I'm just going to presume that you can do this. It's us saying yes and to their development.
Yeah, and watching where they are with it, and then supporting your lessons with that information.
Exactly, and accommodating and modifying as needed.
Yeah.
And I think that when we are open as educators to doing that for all students, we open their doors, and it's a really beautiful thing for their learning, and it builds that intrinsic motivation, it builds their enjoyment for learning, and it builds our ability, or it facilitates our ability to make better connections with our students.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, well, good talk. Easy does it. Cheers.
To another great talk.
Great combo. Is this where I'm supposed to say thank you for listening?
Oh, no, I'm supposed to. Thank you for listening.
Please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you want us to talk about next. And talk soon.